Dear colleagues, please take the seat. I would like to start the meeting because we still have to adapt to one of the opinion, and also we still have to have a discussion panel. So please take your seat. Stop the discussions behind me. Okay, perfect. So, as I said, there is still work to be done. There have been one more opinion we have to approve today, and I think it's really a very crucial one for CCMI. Okay. Everything's fine? Just a second. Okay. Okay. So we have here the guest, as you know. It's you can take mine. Okay, so there is a problem with the headphones. So because you know we have a guest from the enlargement countries, they have been cooperating with us on one of this opinion. So I will be very grateful if they can also follow us in one of the languages. So, okay, is it okay? May I continue? Okay, so you understand. Okay, let's go. So, as I said, we have to adopt CCMI 230, a very important one for CCMI, because as a consultative commission on industrial change, we have been preparing opinion on Industry 5.0, how to make it happen. We know that the industry right now, and we are discussing it already for many years, is challenging the twin transition, the green one and the digital one. And we are still trying to find the best possible ways and solutions how to really manage it. The Industry 5.0, it's like upgrade of Industry 4.0, and the unique point of it is that it's trying to put on also not only the traditional focus on technology and economic growth, but also to put the human on top of it. And I have here a rapporteur and co-rapporteur who are really experts on this issue. So I would like to give them the word to present us this opinion so that we can discuss. Please, Giuseppe.
Thank you very much for this occasion, also for the debate. I use my mother tongue to present my opinion, so I speak Italian. If you don't understand Italian, take your headphone. Benissimo, eccoci a presentare questo parere di iniziativa. Il parere di iniziativa nasce da un'idea e da una proposta del nostro correlatore Guido Nelissen, che ha ideato e proposto questo parere, quindi io mi sono trovato fortunatamente a lavorare con lui e lo ringrazio per questo. Quando qualche tempo fa, inizio degli anni 2000, si è iniziato a numerare col 2 punto le progressioni di alcune policy, no? Si è inaugurata questa stagione e a un certo punto è arrivata Industria 4.0, no? Come a dire siamo di fronte alla quarta rivoluzione industriale, quella che mette al centro della trasformazione la dimensione della digitalizzazione, con una combinazione molto forte con la dimensione dell'energia, no? Quindi sempre le trasformazioni dell'energia hanno guidato le trasformazioni industriali, pensiamo all'impatto prima del vapore, poi dell'energia elettrica, e ovviamente oggi già Industria 4.0 aveva le tecnologie digitali e le nuove tecnologie in generale, perché c'è sì tutto il tema della digitalizzazione, ma se pensiamo ad esempio alla robotica avanzata, c'è una componente digitale, ma continua a esserci una componente importante di capacità ingegneristica, di ideazione della manifattura, che caratterizza questa capacità di trasformazione, no? Quindi ci si è un po' appassionati ai punto zero ed è arrivato 5.0. Allora, da un certo punto di vista, Industria 5.0 non possiamo dire che è la quinta rivoluzione industriale, no? È quindi più un artificio retorico. o di comunicazione utilizzato, e da questo punto di vista il nostro parere per certi aspetti richiama alla necessità di prestare attenzione a, da un lato, completare i percorsi dell'innovazione dentro le nuove strategie industriali europee, adottando e migliorando continuamente le tecnologie per poter competere. La vera novità di Industria 5.0 consiste nella combinazione del fattore umano, del fattore della sostenibilità ambientale, il tema delle competenze e il tema della capacità di continuare a rispondere ai bisogni sociali in Europa. Quindi ha questa ambizione, forse questa è la cosa più interessante. E quindi noi immaginiamo che la tecnologia e l'innovazione tecnologica è fondamentale per riuscire anche a perseguire obiettivi di carattere sociale, ambientale, energetico. Questo perché viviamo in un contesto che ha cambiato completamente, no, il nostro rapporto con le tecnologie, tant'è vero che qualcuno parla di una vita che si realizza nell'infosfera, cioè che combina elementi di vita reale con elementi della dimensione appunto digitalizzata, e questo interessa e impatta anche il sistema industriale europeo. E se, come noi crediamo, l'Europa vuole continuare a essere il continente meno diseguale al mondo, il continente con più consapevolezza sulle conseguenze ambientali della crescita economica, il continente che vuole continuare a lavorare sull'inclusione sociale, io credo che Industria 5.0 sia un orizzonte a cui guardare con attenzione. Chiaramente per perseguire questi obiettivi servono investimenti importanti in ricerca e innovazione, serve una capacità di mobilitazione di risorse pubbliche e private da combinare, serve un investimento importante sulle competenze delle persone. Questo è un po' quello che cerchiamo di dire nella sintesi di un parere che, come sappiamo, si riassume in 18.000 cartelle. Questo è stato anche il parere che per la CCMI ha rappresentato l'occasione per lavorare con i paesi candidati all'allargamento, ed è per questo motivo che oggi abbiamo con noi colleghi che hanno partecipato al gruppo di lavoro in rappresentanza della Turchia. Quando ne abbiamo discusso nel bureau della CCMI rispetto a chi invitare, abbiamo scelto la Turchia proprio perché riconosciamo a questo paese un ruolo importante nella competitività globale proprio nel settore industriale. Quindi permettetemi di chiudere con un teşekkür ederim ai colleghi turchi, grazie di essere qui, e cedo il microfono alla Presidente e credo subito dopo a Guido.
Guido, you want to say something?
Okay, thank you, Giuseppe. So I must say that me and Giuseppe have been working very hard on this opinion, because for us it was a completely new topic. So and I hope the result is satisfactory for you. Some additional reflections from my side. It's important to know that this is a completely new concept, which was put on the political agenda in Europe by DG R&D, Research and Development, and it goes already back in 2021 when the first document was published by DG Research and Development, and it was with the title Industry 5.0 Towards a Sustainable, Human-Centric and Resilient European Industry, 2021. So this was defining the dimensions of Industry 5.0. There were follow-up papers on this, and every year in 2022, 2023, and now just in July there was a complete study about industrial technologies roadmap for a human-centered research and innovation for the European manufacturing industry. So this is the base of this concept Industry 5.0. And in this, throughout these documents, there was a view was presented of a completely new industrial paradigm. So it moves away from merely technology centrism, it moves away from growth orientation, and it puts post-GDP values on the agenda. And it urges companies to adopt a more values-driven approach. It urges companies to pay more attention to the capabilities of their employees in a completely digitalized working environment. And in this way, that's the idea behind it, to create win-win situations for both employees, which have much more job satisfaction, and for the employer, which have better performing companies. And also, it brings also, by putting the emphasis on sustainability and resilience, it brings the challenge of the twin transition, digital and green, it brings it to the shop floor. I think this is the most important, that's the framing of this concept, Industry 5.0. Why don't we call this, why 5.0 and not Industry 4.1 or something else? So I think there is a break with the past. You must be aware that the concept of 4.0 was launched already back in 2011 at the Hanover Fair in Germany, and was with a view to bring the German industry in the digital era. And it was taken over by many other countries. It spread all over Europe. It was very heavily promoted by the World Economic Forum. And in many countries, actions were taken, campaigns were launched about making factories smart, creating factories of the future. So this was pretty successful. It spread over Europe. But in the meantime, things have changed, of course, since 2011. We have had a pandemic. The issue of resilience was put on the agenda. We have the new geopolitical situation, war in Ukraine, and so on. There's the Green Deal. Climate change is very tangible last week in Central Europe. So these are much more prominent. And also companies have now more than ever to integrate these aspects of resilience and energy and climate. They have to integrate this in their business models and in their long-term perspectives. So there is a reason why Industry 5.0 and company strategies could and can merge together. So it's a way to make companies fit for the future. Then something about the technologies behind Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0. So in 2011, there was a new wave of digital technologies which were used as building blocks for Industry 4.0. It was the penetration of the internet in companies, the sensors, connectivity, mobile phones, robotics, advanced robotics, and so on. And these technologies are still there, but they have even deeper penetrated in company policies, in company on the shop floor. And they are more than ever influencing human resources policy and business strategies. But now, with Industry 5.0, we see again a new wave of technologies entering our companies and enterprises. It's the Internet of everything. Everything is connected. It's digital twins. It's edge computing. It's augmented reality. It's visualization of systems. It's goggles that enter. It's exoskeletons. It's cobots. It's speech recognition. And now that the latest one is generative artificial intelligence. And then the question is how to deal with all these technologies on the shop floor, and how to, we have in fact, at the end we have created a hyper-connected ecosystem. With a completely different business organization, where And this has done an impact, I think, on how do we look at human centrism. Human centrism is not new, but what is new, of course, that we have to redefine human centrism in a world where our companies are completely penetrated by digital technologies. And this is really challenging. We have to define and find out new organizational models to deal with that. And this is one of the challenges we have to focus on in the future, how to make our work organization more human-friendly, how to create a culture of learning, how to deal with workplace innovation, how to deal with non-technological innovation, how to create job enrichment, how to promote autonomy of workers, how to promote participation in a completely new context, and also what's then the role of social dialogue and collective bargaining in all this. So these are some background reflections on this opinion.
Thank you, Guido. We will have the representative of the Commission during the debate after the adoption of this opinion, so there is nobody now yet, but the discussion will be followed also by the Commission. And right now I would like to open the general debate, so if you want to speak, please push the button in order to be seen that you want to speak. Okay. So we have already some speakers. I am now closing the possibility, and we can start with the first one, and it's Georgie.
Thank you. Thank you, President. I would like to point out that, well, I've been president of the study group, and one of the issues that faced from the very beginning is the challenging also work that we had together. Also, we had the colleagues from Turkey present during the debates and discussions of the study groups. And I had big feelings because, as Guido said, the Industry 4.0 is something that should be obligatory for reindustrialization of Europe, but we are still behind it at all. And Turkey is one of the countries which actually is taking a lot of the new robotization efforts, and even from investors from Asia, like recent BYD 1 billion investment for electric cars in Turkey. So this shows that this kind of policy needs a very careful approach from European side, because again Europe is lagging behind. But the Industry 5.0 is even more challenging because it is dealing coming more or less from the Japanese side, and they insist on the interconnected society, including not only the business but also the society intercommunication, which also allows the development of the enterprises. And one of the recent efforts of on the European side is opening in order to make this gap less between Asia and Europe, is the creation of the EU, Japan, EU, South Korea industrial hub, which is a big project starting from this year, 3-year project, which also aims at internationalization of companies, helping the European companies, SMEs on SME level, to contact their counterparts in South Korea and Japan on that issue, Industry 5.0 and Industry 5.0, which gives us a hope that that will encourage the European business to continue further. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Vlado, please keep 2 minutes speaking time, all of you.
It works now. Okay. So I have possibility to speak Slovak, so please take your headphone. Začal by som možno ten môj krátučký prejav tým, čo povedal pán Draghi vo svojom prejave, keď nešetril kritickými slovami. Asi ste všetci, alebo viacerí teda počuli, ako veľmi kriticky sa vyjadril v stave Európskej únii. Ja len poviem možno dve veci. Dovážame viac ako 80% digitálnej technológie a máme najvyššie ceny energie na svete. Povedal, obávame sa, že časom nebude Európska únia, alebo nebudeme nevyhnutne menej prosperujúci, menej rovný, menej bezpečný a v dôsledku toho aj menej slobodný. Ja však, teda priemysel 5.0 je určite veľkou výzvou pre všetky zložky spoločnosti, ale je to predovšetkým výzva pre výskum a školstvo, ktoré v najbližšom období majú pred sebou najviac práce. Keďže som z akademického prostredia, tak mi veľmi záleží na tom, aby školstvo, či už základné, stredné, ale najmä univerzitné, bolo pripravené na zvládnutie úloh, ktoré nás čakajú v priemysele 5.0. Treba si uvedomiť, že univerzitný cyklus prípravy absolventov je 5-6 rokov, príprava PhD študentov až 8 rokov. Tým naznačujem, aby sme univerzity na tieto zmeny včas pripravili. Univerzity majú dosť veľkú zotrvačnosť zmeniť kurikul a preto by Európska komisia mala urgentne vyzvať univerzity na úpravu kurikul pre potreby priemyslu 5.0. Nechcem hovoriť o výskume, to by si vyžadovalo oveľa viac času, ako mám k dispozícii. Ale na záver chcem povedať toľko, že to predložené stanovisko je dobré, je to základ pre ďalšiu diskusiu a chcel by som ho veľmi podporiť. Ďakujem.
Ďakujem, Vlado. And now Andrea.
Thank you. I'm going to speak in Italian. Sì, grazie. Io non ho fatto parte del gruppo, ma volevo esprimere davvero le mie congratulazioni a Giuseppe e a Guido per davvero l'ottimo parere. Credo sia un parere molto importante perché è importante oggi assicurare uno sviluppo umano alla tecnologia. Come è stato detto, Industria 4.0 aveva focalizzato troppo, diciamo, l'attenzione sulle tecnologie senza dare un'adeguata attenzione alla parte, diciamo, al capitale umano, alla parte umana, quindi è importante oggi assicurare uno sviluppo umano anche nelle declinazioni delle transizioni, in particolare per tutto quello che riguarda anche la intelligenza artificiale. Io volevo solo evidenziare, diciamo, un passaggio che credo sia davvero molto importante di questo parere, perché essendo un parere che comunque cerca di declinare la tecnologia anche nei processi industriali e nei processi aziendali e quindi nell'organizzazione del lavoro, credo che la partecipazione dei lavoratori, il dialogo sociale, quindi come poi queste tecnologie vengano declinate nella prassi aziendale sia fondamentale. Quindi è davvero molto importante aver riconosciuto nel parere il valore del lavoro, il valore del dialogo sociale, il valore della partecipazione dei lavoratori all'organizzazione delle imprese, perché attraverso questa partecipazione che le tecnologie possono realmente avere poi un volto umano. Grazie.
Thank you, Andrea. And now Norbert Kohlke. He's substituting Maxi Reuters. Yeah? Some of the digital assessment of this room is communicating with us.
It works?
So maybe I will
So
now.
then-
Is it functioning now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would
Okay.
express.
Thank you, Norbert.
So then, thank you, Monica, for giving me the floor. As you see, to work with this committee, with the CCME, this means always you have to work. Change seats, prepare yourself. However, I simply like to congratulate the Giuseppe and Guido really to have taken up this trace, yeah, laid out by the GD Research, which means this is an institution which usually are not competing with us in discussions about competitiveness. So this is also a kind of building a feature, building a particularity of this CCME to really to move on, let's say, unusual tracks to open a discussion, which is important because it offers us another thinking about what is competitiveness in Europe. So yeah, I think that this is really thrilling and also let's say demanding. And you said it, I don't know, somewhere in the summary that you demand to create the world first humanistic centered economy, which is really another sound as we're hearing from all the debates we know in Europe, across Europe now. So I think this is really, yeah, I like it very much. And I would also advise or recommend to give this paper, after having adopted here today, to those who are preparing the hearings for the new EU commissioners. Yeah, because look, if you're looking on the let's say on the grid of the responsibilities in the new commission for this kind of addressing this topic, we need at least 7 people to ask, because all of them are a little bit responsible for industrial development and competitiveness and so on. And it looks a bit like that this is on purpose to disperse this responsibilities in the Commission, political responsibilities. So I think we should make aware the people, our colleagues from the Parliament, the members of the Parliament who are available for us on this fact, and also giving them another idea, which is not only our idea because it was created by EU Commissioner General Direction, to ask the candidates how they like to operate it politically to come to these new borders, to depart to the new borders you propose in this opinion. So I fully agree. I'm really proud to see that we have it in the CCMI, this very particular issue here, and that we also find adoption and agreement about this course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norbert. And now, Stefan, 2 minutes, please.
Merci. Oui, alors je voudrais mettre en relation dans votre avis, notamment dans les conclusions, le point 1.2, 1.2, et le point 1.7. Le premier parle de la 1.6, pardon. Le premier parle de la nécessité pour l'Union européenne d'avoir une approche favorable à l'industrie. Cette nécessité ou ce souci n'a pas été évident pendant des années, voire des décennies, où l'accent était mis plutôt sur le commerce, le doux commerce, comme disait Kant, sur le plan mondial, la mondialisation. Et finalement, on a laissé partir un certain nombre d'entreprises industrielles ailleurs que sur le territoire européen. Et en même temps, bien entendu, notamment les jeunes étudiants se sont détournés des études ou des filières qui les menaient vers l'industrie, puisque l'industrie ne paraissait plus comme un secteur d'avenir. Donc ils étaient logiques, c'était extrêmement rationnel. Si on dit aux jeunes, l'avenir n'est plus dans l'industrie, mais c'est dans la communication et les services, ils se dirigent plus vers ça, ce qui explique aussi probablement, dans beaucoup de pays de l'Union européenne, un défaut, un manque d'ingénieurs. L'industrie a besoin d'ingénieurs. Et voilà. Et donc, c'est quelque chose de tout à fait important de rappeler que l'industrie peut être encore un secteur d'avenir. Et c'est important, notamment pour les jeunes gens qui choisissent leur orientation. Alors ensuite, il y a le fait de prendre en compte les contraintes environnementales et sociétales, qui est tout à fait normal. C'est ce qu'on appelle le souci de transition de notre système économique. Il faut quand même prendre garde au fait que si on impose trop de contraintes aux entreprises d'Europe, et qu'en même temps, on ouvre largement le commerce international et qu'on met en compétition nos entreprises qui ont des contraintes importantes sur le plan environnemental et sociétal, et si on met en compétition avec des entreprises qui, elles, n'ont pas les mêmes contraintes, on arrive à une situation critique pour nos propres entreprises. Donc il faut trouver le juste équilibre entre l'ouverture du marché et les contraintes qu'on impose à nos acteurs économiques.
Thank you, Stefan. I would like to welcome the representatives of the Commission already. You are here. Sorry, we are a little bit late. Maybe we need 5 more minutes. I would like to welcome Maria Cristina Russo. She is a Director, Prosperity Directorate General for Research and Innovation. So very, very warm welcome. We are very happy to have you here. Please give us 5 minutes and we will start with the discussion. Thank you so much. We have heard the general debate. Giuseppe, Guido, I will give each of you 2 minutes, 3 minutes maximum to make the reaction, because then we have to get in a discussion anyway.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Very, very brief, because the first is thank everyone to intervene in this debate, because your intervention is very, very good for us, recognize our work. I switch to Italian just to underline 2 things. Meriterebbero ciascuno dei vostri interventi un commento e una risposta, ma prendo in considerazione gli ultimi 2 interventi per dire questa cosa. Sul fatto che avessimo bisogno di reindustrializzare l'Europa, in questo comitato si parla da molto tempo, e quindi riconosciamo da un lato la Commissione europea che nel 2020 ha proposto la nuova strategia industriale europea, ci sono delle intuizioni importanti e noi dobbiamo continuare su questa strada. E mi viene una battuta, no, da fare a livello di riflessione generale. Noi abbiamo una organizzazione internazionale del commercio, ma non abbiamo mai avuto un'organizzazione internazionale dell'industria, della produzione, della manifattura. Questo è un pensiero che dovremmo provare a proporre. E per quanto riguarda i limiti, è vero quello che si dice, però in molti casi noi imputiamo all'Europa di limitare più di quanto in realtà non facciano in verità più gli Stati membri. Solo un esempio, senza nessun intento polemico con i miei amici e colleghi della Germania, ma avete visto tutti, il cancelliere Scholz ieri ha detto niente fusione fra Commerzbank e Unicredit. Siamo d'accordo o no? Però voi sapete che per fare lo stesso livello di capitalizzazione di JP Morgan servono le 10 principali banche europee. Questo ci dice molte cose. Io non sono sostenitore della grande dimensione, sapete che io sostengo il credito cooperativo, però bisogna avere un ecosistema che ha il grande e il piccolo, ma se poi noi facciamo queste cose non andiamo molto lontano. E idem, come dice Norbert, sparigliare in 7 diversi competenze di 7 diversi commissari, dossier che riguardano l'occupazione, riguardano l'industria, insomma è una sfida importante. Magari ha ragione Ursula von der Leyen che dice dobbiamo mescolare le carte e non lavorare per compartimenti stagni, però per fare questo bisogna che ascoltino di più le parti sociali e noi siamo pronti a fare il nostro lavoro.
I think that Giuseppe has said everything on. I don't have to add anything, I think. Your answers were complete.
Okay.
Now, to win time, so.
Good. We will anyway continue in this discussion during the next panel. So now I would like to ask the delegates, only the delegates, to vote about these presented opinions. So the vote is open for delegates. And I hope you managed. The vote is closed. It's 23 plus 1, Guido, so 24. And 4 and no abstention. And now I would like to ask the members to vote. And the vote is closed. The vote, one more, okay. Okay, so the vote is closed. So 21 for, no abstention, no. So it's passed. Congratulations. And I think I would like to ask the Secretariat to prepare the panel for us quickly. 1 minute. We will change a little bit the seating here, but we are going to continue in this discussion, very important discussion for all of us. So just give us 2 minutes. Don't go out of this meeting room, please.
It was already 3:10, so I decided not to reply because you answered already, so I could not so much add.
Can you put off your microphone? Okay, so it looks like we are ready. Thank you. Thanks the Secretariat. Very good work done. I would like now to make any long speeches. I just want to give the word to Giuseppe Gureni, who is going to lead this first panel discussions, and I'm really looking for the questions and answers, please.
Okay, thank you again, and let me thank first of all our guest today. We are Maria Cristina Russo, Director of Prosperity Unit on Directorate General for Research Innovation in European Commission. So thank you very much to be here. And we are the Professor Stephen Donth from the Leuven University and work in innovation on workplace. So thank you very much to be here. Do you have 5 minutes for the first intervention? And then again, we made it two turn of spoke for you. And we start with Maria Cristina Russo. To set the scene, we need to explain what the Industry 5.0 approach was for the European Union and for your directorate. Thank you to be here, and I give the floor to you.
Ok, voilà. Grazie, thank you. Grazie mille twice then. Many thanks. Good afternoon to everybody, and I'm very happy to be here in this committee this afternoon. Congratulations for the adoption of your opinion on 5.0. And the reason why I'm happy to be here is to highlight the importance that all the work on Industry 5.0 has for us, for the European Commission. And in particular, we believe that your opinion is very important now that we are in a very important moment with the new Commission taking functions. A strong attention to industry, competitiveness and growth, a situation where we really need to join forces in order to work together and connect the different dots. So it is really very important that in this committee you are adopting this opinion. We've been working in the Directorate General for Research and Innovation for a long time on developing this concept of Industry 5.0, and in particular in the directorate that I have the honor to lead, which is the Prosperity Directorate. We strongly believe that we do need to support the stronger industrial approach for Europe, in which we do more for supporting our industries, which are going through a dramatic situation, and the industry are at the backbone of the European economy, and we really need to do more, we need to do better, but we need to do it in a way that it develops and preserves the European model, which is a human-centric model, which is a model that is attentive to the workers, to the people, to the sustainability, to the resilience, and this is why we have been very keen in having different activities which relate to Industry 5.0. Obviously, although Industry 5.0 related is not specifically mentioned in some of the key elements that are discussed, are currently discussed, let me also mention the Draghi report, for example, which is at the heart of this Commission, with this strong call to enhance the competitiveness of the EU in order to foster growth. But I think, and we do think, and at least we see it in that way, that Industry 5.0 is a cross-cutting element alongside the discourse for the new prosperity approach that the President wants to promote in Europe, based also on the late-end Draghi report. Because in fact, one of the key elements is that we do need to do more to support the industry, but we need to do more to support growth and competitiveness. But why are we doing that? We are doing that because we want that Europe remains strong, remains competitive, because we want that Europe remains able to defend its values, its core values and principles on which it is based. And there it is a social model in which the human beings have a strong position, and we really need to work along this path to have an industrial development which sees the human at the core of this transformation. So these are the main elements from a conceptual point of view. I mentioned several times that we have been working quite a lot on Industry 5.0. I don't know if you want me to go more in details now, or maybe I leave it for afterwards. I'm in your hands.
No, you can explain something about the title.
Oh, okay. So
3 minutes again.
3 minutes. So I will do it in 3 minutes. So obviously, so I said that we've been it is important for us. We've been doing some different researches on Industry 5.0, but also very concretely, we have taken some actions which aim at helping the emergence of an Industry 5.0 ecosystem to connect. So trying to connect the dots of the different actors on Industry 5.0. So we launched the Industry 5.0 community of practice. It was launched with a piloting phase, which will be concluded by a big conference to which I invite you, of course, which will take place here in Brussels on the 16th of October. This will be the conference in which the community of practice members will meet in person, and they will adopt a first set of deliverables of the work that they have done together, and also the priorities for the years to come. Now, who are these community of practice members? In this pilot phase, we brought together 120 representatives of the European innovation ecosystem. They come from big companies, they come from SMEs and startups, from universities, from public and private research organizations, from member states, regional and local administration, civil society organizations, social partners, industrial clusters, and various umbrella organizations. This pilot project was launched around 10 months ago, and this community of practice worked together to really try to introduce a transformative agenda for industrial research and innovation based on 5.0, to learn from each other's experience and to develop this roadmap that should be endorsed on the 16th of October. The question here would be to learn from their experiences and also to try to implement different actions in the organizations they're coming from. I would conclude with the second deliverable that we have put in place, which is a prototype Industry 5.0 learning and assessment tool, which aims at encouraging companies, organizations to check their performance against human centricity, sustainability and resilience at different stages of the production process. And it also aims at inspiring organizations, in particular startups, to design impact-driven organizational models aligned with green, digital and social transformation. And this tool is really a key element of the deliverable of the work we have done so far on Industry 5.0.
Okay, thank you very much. Really interesting this intervention. Of course, we try to see if someone of CCMI can take part on the conference on 16 October. Of course, very interesting. And now we go to the Professor Daunt. Academia is really important for skills, for innovation, for research, and we know that we don't have innovation, research, skills, we cannot compete, but we need to increase. And what is the perspective for Industry 5.0 in the academia and your vision? Thank you very much to be here.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the invitation to be able to talk about this subject. There are two thoughts that I wanted to discuss about is what is the difference, in fact, between Industry 5.0 and Industry 4.0 approach. And secondly, I would also want to address the if this framework of Industry 5.0 is fit for the future, certainly in the context of the Draghi report. I think that if you look at the Draghi report, you see the main components, which are also the core element of Industry 5.0. So in this sense, Industry 5.0 was a precursor of what Draghi was working on at this moment. But let's say Industry 5.0 is, as Industry 4.0, focused on digital transformation of our societies. We need these digital technologies, we need them to be central. So we need our skills also to be focused on those elements. But the main difference between Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0 is that it's a different belief system. I think Guido just pointed out that we would be in the post-growth thinking. I think that future growth is extremely important, but at Industry 5.0 gives the direction in which this growth should be. And in stressing the fact that it's a different belief system, it tries to address external effects of companies at the core. So companies, certainly when designed in the Industry 4.0 context, they were more focused on trying to develop the new technologies, but have no attention to the skills and to what workers and to what companies are doing with the environment. So core elements are, of course, human centricity, sustainability, and resilience. I think it's good to stress that. It is about future economic growth, but a different one. A core element is that I think it's one of the first times that the European Commission has been addressing companies on what they should be doing themselves. So what are they doing in practice? So this is really a core idea. But it's also focused on the social model. It's broadening the number of actors who are important for industry, for what is happening there. So it's engaging, for example, stakeholder networks to bring the schooling and those things to the companies and doing some things with that. But it's broadening the actors also in the fact of a specific direction of more collaboration. So those are two other elements which are quite important. The Industry 4.0 has always started from a quite negative perspective. mass unemployment as an extreme risk. We should develop a universal basic income. But we're in a situation where we do have enormous economic challenges, but we have an enormous amount of people employed. There's no talk anymore of universal basic income. There's only talk about how can we find more employees in a situation where we want to close off the migration borders in Europe. So, and then the last element, or two more elements which are crucial for Industry 5.0 is that we are dealing with a lot of changes in sustainability already with the CSRD and ESG guidelines. So those are already on the agenda. And the last point, the focus on SMEs. The productivity of SMEs remains quite low, is extremely behind what bigger companies are doing, and we need to close that gap. Is Industry 5.0 then fit for the future? As the Draghi report says, we have a serious underinvestment, and it's about the transformation of what we're doing with our fantastic knowledge that we have at the universities. So what we're developing there is quite nice, but we are not transforming these patterns and these ideas into processes, into products. We are lagging behind in process innovation each day. We need to create a new model, and that can only be done if we look at the company, at the organizational level, at what employees are doing. It is about what the Draghi report says, education at every stage. So one of the ideas that we're working on is, for example, the learning factories and teaching factories, which are focused at the company level at trying to get the skills suited to what companies need. And I want to point out for one of the comments made on that if we engage into Industry 5.0, we might touch on our own competitiveness. I know in the Netherlands that already 2% of companies are totally CO2 neutral. 40% are just lagging behind. So they're really very close to this degree. So we are already doing it. So we shouldn't go back and say we should not be in sustainability. I think that sustainability is a core element of our competitiveness of the future. So in all cases, Industry 5.0 is quite essential for our industries. It brings the discussion to a level which was not in the policy domain, being the workplace. It's also not so much an element of more subsidies for industry, but it is about how to make co-decisions at the company level possible and how to make this more human-centric. I think that's the only way that we can make companies and SMEs more productive in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now I have two questions for you two, but very brief answer, because then we open the floor for our member, and then finally just some sentence to maintain our agenda. The question was, do you speak about the new commission? This is a momentum. We are all interesting to know what's happened now, and how you expect for the new college about prosperity and competitiveness. Of course, all people talk about Draghi report. Draghi report is a sort of Bible now to try to realize this proposal, but in my opinion, it's very interesting report, of course, but something that Draghi, but also Letta report say is the same that Mario Monti report, right? 14 years ago. And so whole people in Europe know what we need, but no one take the behavior to realize, to do. And now the new commission, what do you think is ready to take this very hard task?
Thank you very much. Apart from underlining all those Italians that write reports, I would say that I don't entirely agree with you that these reports follow each other without anything being done. Because if you take Mario Monti's report and if you take the Letta report, I mean, one of the first elements that Letta puts in the report at the far front is what has been achieved. And there is a lot that has been achieved, and that we need to say. I mean, in terms of integration of the internal market, there is a lot. Let me just very briefly speak about research and innovation. I mean, when the first time that the research policy was at the political agenda at a European Council was in the year 2000. There was completely, every member state did alone, there was no coordination, and then we started bit by bit with the then Commissioner Busquin to develop the European research area. And now we do have a coordination of research policies. Maybe we didn't achieve the 3%, but we discussed together. There is a forum for discussion. There are instruments for coordination on important questions such as infrastructures, others. So this is, to be brief, an example. We cannot say that nothing has been achieved. But what both Letta and Draghi say is that we need to do more, and also that the world has changed. Because, I mean, the world has dramatically changed. All these discussions on strategic autonomy, on defense, they were not, let's say, à la mode, between inverted commas, some years ago. So, to be brief, I think that we have done something. We need to do much more in order to overcome fragmentation, and I think that there is a political willingness to do that in the Commission. What is very challenging in the Draghi report, obviously, is the financing, is the money that should be mobilized. This is also a very delicate political discussion on which I will not give my opinion here because it will not be very important, my personal opinion, but I do believe that in a way or another, we will also move forward in this respect.
Okay, thank you, thank you. That is, you are right, because, for example, when we organize in Europe the reaction for the COVID pandemic, the research about vaccine is a very example of such as of a European research network. And so, and now, Professor Don't, you talk about ESG and also about SME. ESG and the SME is very important for the CCMI, but also for all European Economic and Social Committee. Do you have some suggestion about, for example, indicators to realize 5.0 industry in ESG indicator and also to support SME?
Yes, so I think there's, if you look at the companies, what they're doing with ESG and looking at the CSRD guidelines, there are an enormous amount of indicators that they need to follow. And I can understand that a lot of companies will say this is a bit overkill. We're more investing into reporting than in doing the actions. So it should be clearly that the companies should be investing in improving the working situation, not giving reporting on that. So, but there are a set of indicators which are needed. There are a set of general indicators and a set of more specific indicators which can be industry specific. And they will not always be in ESG reporting. So some of them will be outside of the companies. That will be at a macro level. We need to follow labor productivity close. So that's a certain important indicator for the future. We need to understand what the gap is between SMEs and larger companies. So that's also something that's at a macro level that needs to be followed. There's a lot of information already available in current statistics, but these statistics should be made more available. The Community Innovation Survey already has a lot of information, for example, on process innovation, human centricity, for example. Well, human centricity is not in the S of the ESG. So we need to have more indicators on that domain, but they already exist, but they should be made more available. We should also have, and that's nowhere in the ESG. That's information on technology use. Robotics, for example, we need more robots. We know that they're growing, but it's only in the best situation 1 on 40 workers that see a robot. So there are 39 who do not have that. So that we need to have more information on those kind of situations. And specific, well, industry and services are, of course, different worlds. So they will have different kinds of indicators needed for that. Maybe even to reduce the load for companies in reporting, it would be good to have better assessments on the outside. We have Eurofound in Dublin, which gives us information on what happened at the workplace, but also at the company level. But the European Company Survey is not there at this moment. It should be there. It would give more information and could be helpful in guiding policy discussions on this. And we're behind our American colleagues, where they have the MOPS survey, Management and Organizational Practice Survey, which gives indication. I think that Europe should be also on that path, which could lower the demands for companies in reporting, so that the companies can do more action. Yeah.
Well, very well. Thank you. Thank you. Now we open the floor for members and delegates. Of course, if you have some question to raise, you can ask him for the floor. Please concentrate on the question, because we have the possibility to have an answer with our guest. So we start. Kestutis, please. The floor is yours.
Please click again.
Now, thank you. Dear Professor, I have a question to you, because you immediately catched my attention by saying that Industry 5.0 was kind of a prerequisite or precluding effort towards the Draghi report. But if I take a look at Draghi report, and if I try to summarize it, it has little human in it. It is an economic program for development, for some kind of some rescue plan and policy lobby program, so to say. But it's going in the wrong direction compared to Industry 5.0, including in the wrong direction to that opinion we just adopted. That's probably only my initial, probably because I'm not well advanced in the topic, view. But I would love to have your point of view. Here is my example. If you think from the very beginning, like movement of persons, movement of people, movement of citizens, movement of workers, and in the end it's movement of labor force. So essentially what you get is a dehumanization of debate when it comes to movement of persons, from persons starting, ending with just a labor force which is completely dehumanized. So I see this type of tendency, not the otherwise, the other way around. Yeah. So I would love to hear your comments on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I propose to collect some questions, then I give the floor for answer.
The microphone is still on, huh?
Yes, of course. Well, now I give the floor to Mr. Barceló Delgado. Andres, the floor is yours.
Please put your headphones, because I will speak in Spanish, except the president. Muchas gracias, Giuseppe, y muchas gracias por su intervención. A la directora Russo, déjeme reformular la pregunta que le ha hecho nuestro presidente hoy. El informe Draghi, creo que podemos estar más o menos de acuerdo en el diagnóstico. El problema viene cómo se hace. No me refiero a los informes anteriores ni a lo que se ha hecho, sino cómo se hace. Y no hablo del tema espinoso, tema del presupuesto. Considera, los servicios de la comisión que usted representa, consideran que hay posibilidad de apuesta política para poner en marcha ciertas medidas, como son la mutualización de la deuda, como es ampliar el alcance del sistema europeo frente a los Estados miembros, si hay, o si por el contrario se va a quedar el informe Draghi en una Biblia estupenda que nadie tiene ningún interés en cumplir, que nadie tiene ningún interés en cumplir. Y al profesor Dont, que le agradezco igualmente mucho su presentación y los datos, me gustaría una pregunta concreta. Ha hablado de un porcentaje muy elevado de empresas que son neutrales en carbono en los Países Bajos. Si lo sabe, ¿me puede decir a qué sectores representan o cuál es el porcentaje de los sectores? Porque no es lo mismo una pequeña empresa industrial, incluso que una pequeña empresa industrial dedicada a un tema intensivo en energía. Y una última pregunta para los dos, los costes de la regulación. Creo que es algo que se olvidan nuestros políticos y a veces nuestros funcionarios, y a veces tendemos a olvidarlos. Las pequeñas y medianas empresas y las grandes empresas dedican una cantidad de esfuerzo y de dinero a cumplir los costes de la regulación. Yo siempre digo en broma que si el gerente, lo que ha dicho el profesor Don mucho mejor que yo, que si el gerente de una pequeña y mediana empresa tiene que leerse toda la regulación que le afecta y conocerla, entonces no trabaja. Así directamente. Las grandes empresas tienen equipos que lo pueden hacer, les cuesta mucho, les cuesta mucho. Los departamentos de regulación son muy caros, pero tienen equipos. Pero el señor que tiene 60 trabajadores, que él es el director financiero, el director comercial y el director de producción, si se dedica a leerse todo lo que se publica con tanta liberalidad por todas las administraciones, con todos los niveles, no la europea, sino la nacional, la regional y a veces la local, entonces no trabaja directamente. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias a Andreas. I give the floor now to Norbert Kühler. Please, Norbert, the floor is yours.
Giuseppe, as I'm belonging to the workers group of the committee and being a trade unionist who was involved very often in restructuring processes, in particular in multinational companies, I would address a concern as follows. We are talking about a total digitalized work environment here. This is Industry 5.0. This is a consequence of the employees. That's fine. No critiques in this regard. But my question is, we agreed in our opinion just a few minutes ago the following sentence: ensuring an orderly technological transition requires intensified worker participation and a well-established social dialogue that includes all relevant stakeholders and organized civil society. How we could manage it, how we could operate this in this environment. What we hear now from Industry 4.0, or let's say a transformation, is nobody should left behind. Fine, yeah. And the second is we have to qualify high-skilled workforce. This means we regard the employees as objects, not as subjects. If we would really be successful in this Industry 5.0, but we need active employees. In a way, we could say we need employees, workers who are citizens at their workplaces. And my question is, I address it here, because we have a fundamental right in our constitution, European Constitution, which tells us if you are concerned by a change in your workplace, you have the right to be consulted and informed. This is a fundamental right. Nobody put doubts on it. And it is the politics who have to make sure that you can apply your right. And it is the more necessary if you have this challenge in work environment. And I would ask you which progress you see, which demand you see, which steps you will take as politics in mainly to really progress in enabling workers to be citizens in their workplaces. It's a question to Madame Russo. It's not your dossier, I know, but what you would like to demand from your colleagues from other DGs, 7 or 8, I don't know, to ensure that you can really make progress with your concept you propose with the Industry 5.0. Thank you.
Thank you, Norbert. Don't umpire in the screen, but there is another intervention. Is from Mr. Garcia. Señor Garcia, tienes la palabra.
Thank you very much, President. Solventados los problemas de petición de palabra que la había pedido antes y no ha sido posible. Bien, podríamos entrar en mucho un debate profundo y quizá bastante más profundo de lo meramente industrial, porque no se trata únicamente de una revolución industrial. Estamos hablando de una revolución social, económica y de diversos tipos que, por ejemplo, en Japón ya la han catalogado de otra manera distinta a la que la catalogamos en Europa. Evidentemente no se le podemos poner puertas al campo, eso es una obviedad. Lo que pasa es que entramos en un terreno que, viendo la evolución que tenemos, viendo la evolución, yo lo que he visto en mi propio centro de trabajo, pues lo que ha significado el inicio de la electrificación y las consecuencias ya que está teniendo sobre el volumen de empleo. De inicio, un 30 o un 40% menos. Eso lo estamos viendo en Europa, en las factorías, básicamente del automóvil, pero que detrás de todo eso. Y el automóvil, solamente el automóvil, significa más del 10% del Producto Interior Bruto de Europa. Yo no quiero entrar en el tema si vamos a, evidentemente, del Internet de las cosas. Unos procesos que antes llevaban 800 personas, hoy lo lleva una persona con un teclado y un conector al proceso. Me quiero ahorrar toda la argumentación. ¿Van los robots a pagar impuestos por los puestos de trabajo que sustituyan? Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Now I give the floor to our guest for the answer. We are brief, very brief time, but I know you are also you need to run away. So please, Mrs. Russo, the floor is yours for the first answer.
Thank you. I will give some quick feedback because indeed, unfortunately, I have to go to another meeting which is linked to the new commission organization, and we're working a lot to prepare our commissioners for the hearings. I think if the commission is going to do what is in the Draghi report, I think yes. I would like to say yes. If you see that the Draghi report was issued the day before the mandate letters of the week before the mandate letters of the commissioners, and you take the mission letters, you see that there is a lot which is reflected there. For example, I don't want to read to you the mission letters, but if you take the mission letter of Stéphane Séjourné, who is the Executive Vice President for Prosperity and Industrial Leadership, it is clearly spoken about the fact that the new industrial strategy should be a strategy which is in line with the European approach, which is based on sustainability and which is based on again the values and principles of the EU, which are centered on the human being. Also, on the second question, part of the question on the administrative burden, there again there are some new elements that the President has asked the commissioners to do when they will take function in order to really reduce this legislation that exists, that hampers the SMEs and costs a lot to the industry. For example, there is an obligation to review all the acquis communautaire to see which of these legislation can be abolished, so that it does not exist anymore, to ease the life of the enterprises and SMEs. So I invite you to read these mission letters, which are publicly available. On the workers, I mean, of course, the workers are the heart of the industry, and we should be really attentive on the fact that the digitalization does not take away the work from the workers. So what we really need to focus, and what I would like to ask to my colleagues working on employment, is to really be serious when we speak about skills and trainings that can really support their workers in all the sectors in order to fully tap the potential of the digital technologies and not being a victim of that.
Thank you very much. Grazie mille, dottoressa Russo. And now the last word for the Professor Dont. Please, the floor is yours.
So really having the opportunity to talk and also to have the last word, that's really fantastic. So there were some remarks on the link that I put between the Draghi report and Industry 5.0. Of course, there's no link practically, in the sense that I looked through the Draghi report to find the word Industry 5.0. It's not in there, so that's clear. But if you look at the structure, I would say two things are 100% covered. That's sustainability and that is resilience. And then the question is about the human side, human-centric part, that it's not in the definition and language of the Draghi report. But the Draghi report does point out that we need to invest in skills, and we need to have the European social model as a core element. Of course, personally, I would have liked to have had more the Industry 5.0 language in that part. So yes, a partial win, I would say. On CO2, companies' practices in the Netherlands, 2% are CO2 free, so and probably also net negative already. So my point is that companies are already doing it. So we should not go back and say, stop doing that. No, we should continue with that. And I know that, and I have the figures here, so you can look at the figures for the Dutch situation. It's in all sectors. So it's not specific for one sector that does this. Of course, bigger companies are doing more than SMEs. But the interesting of the result of this analysis is that if you ask the companies if they have any impediments, they don't. And they do not need more money. They know how to do it. So it is something that is already ingrained into our practices. So we're confirming with Industry 5.0 a trend that is there, but we should support it even more. I didn't really hear very specific other questions, but some remarks on things like taxes on robots. I think that we really need more robots. So taxing them, taxing investments, that's the core element of such an approach, would be turning the thing around. So we really need to have higher wages so that people can invest and make their decisions, but not go in the way of taxing robots. We should invite them into our workplaces, which is also the title of one of my books.
Okay, thank you very much. It's the last word, but only of the first panel. Now we are the second panel, and I pass the presidency, the moderation to my good colleague and good friend Guido Denissen. Thank you very much. Thank you for Professor Donta. Thank you, Maria Cristina Russo. Very interesting debate. And now, good luck, Guido. I go in the other side of the room.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Thank you so much. It was very interesting. Now I would like to ask the Secretariat to prepare the seating for the next panel for us. And Guido Nelson will be the moderator of the second panel, and he will focus his panel on the implementation of the Industry 5.0. So as soon as we will have the speakers sitting next to Guido, we can start the panel. So I invite all the speakers to come here in the front. You will see your names written in the front of your chair. Please have a seat. And we can start the panel. Guido, you are going to chair. Yeah,
Okay.
please do it.
Thank you, Monica. Let's start without further ado, because time is running. For this, we have heard the voice of the Commission, we have heard the voice of the university, the academic world. Now you listen to those that are on the ground, the practitioners, people that have to deal with the implementation of Industry 5.0. And it's a pleasure for me to invite four distinguished guests. We have 4 people. Ziga Valic from Flanders Make. It's you. Welcome. So Flanders Make is a network of Flemish industrial companies in the manufacturing industry, and they also bring together these companies with research institutes, and the ambition is to work on improving innovation processes and production processes in Flanders industry. Then we have Inigo from Mondragon. So Mondragon, yeah, you know, probably Mondragon is the Basque cooperative. It's the biggest in Europe, I suppose. And it is 70,000 people, and they have also quite a lot of industrial activities, and they have human centrism as a cooperative. It's at your core, and sustainability. So for you, it should not be new, Industry 5.0. So he will talk about his take on this. And then we have Jean-Pascal Ries. Hello. He's from Schneider Electronics. It's a big company, multinational, 150,000 people working on automation, digitalization of company processes, but much more also in networks, and it's a big multinational. But they already, I told him that I had a look in their yearly annual report of last year, and I found the notion Industry 5.0. I found it twice in the introduction and at the end in their yearly report. So, but in the meantime, they have done much more about this, I suppose. So let's start. No, it's my colleague. Huh? It's my colleague. It's shame. Yeah, you were hiding her. Aurora Rossi is from Industrial, and they had an internal consultation on the topic Industry 5.0, and they made a really nice position paper out of it. So that's the people we have to discuss with. And so Laia proposed to start with an icebreaker question to all of you. It's in fact, this should be the conclusions of our debate. What is missing in the approach Industry 5.0? What is missing? Are we missing business models? Are we missing investments? Is there a problem with skills, as was mentioned already? Do we understand what this means sufficiently? Is there a lack of exchange of good practices? That's you have all 1 minute to express your idea about this. 1 minute about what more do we need in 1 minute. So where do we start with the first one? It's where's my list of speakers? You can start to the right. Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Žiga Valic. I'm the EU Affairs Manager at Flanders Make. We are actually a research center, so we have 14 labs working on manufacturing topics, ranging from flexible assembly to mechatronics to batteries for electric cars. So, and working part of our network are also all the Flemish universities. So my short answer would be, I think all the elements are there, but what we lack is time, basically, because if you look at how European industry is set up, the backbone are SMEs, and these SMEs have limited financial capacity and they have limited human resources, which basically means that in order to deploy, I would say, technologies which are part of Industry 5.0, they are limited. They are deploying bricks of technology, but not, taking into account the three pillars of Industry 5.0, which are sustainability, resilience, and human centricity. So I think time would be the element that is right now missing, especially and particularly for SMEs. As it was said before, big companies, they have the capacity to deploy this, but more about this later. Thank you.
Eskerrik asko gonbidapenengatik. Thank you so much for the invitation. Como decía Guido, bueno, yo viniendo de una cooperativa me toca decir que lo que falta es el business model. Nosotros nacimos de lo que es hoy una universidad, y decía nuestro fundador que la industria era solo una palanca para la transformación social y para la educación de la comunidad. Yo creo que en general el nombre de Industria 5.0 no cambia lo que nosotros queremos hacer. Da igual cómo le llamemos, y antes se ha comentado, 4.0, 5.0, lo importante es realmente quién controla, y tenemos que admitir que el paradigma aún no son ni de lejos las personas, sigue siendo el beneficio. Cuando hablemos de competitividad, bueno, tendremos que compararnos, y en esa comparación tendremos que hablar de China y tenemos que hablar de Estados Unidos, porque si no, no se entiende la industria europea. Y luego ahondaremos más, pero el hecho de que haya una industria potente conforma la sociedad. No es lo mismo una sociedad de servicios que una sociedad con una industria potente. Y cuando hablemos de Europa, más allá de bueno, la reindustrialización, yo hablaría primeramente de cómo mantener la industria que aún tenemos. Gracias.
Oh, yes, thank you. Very nice to be with you today. Yes, so maybe to continue on the 2 points from my predecessor, definitely what we need is funding, definitely funding. Back to the remark from my previous colleague, when you look at China and the big industrial ecosystem, China, India, and the US, they put aside public funding to not only reindustrialize, and I'm back as well to my previous colleague, I think what we need is a massive modernization of the industry setup in Europe, especially focus, back to my two previous colleagues, especially focus on SMEs. It's correct to say that large companies do have, and Schneider, we are one of it. I will be happy to share our sustainability journey and how we are aiming toward the 5.0 goals. But I mean, we are very humble because we are a big company, so we have the means to do that. But definitely when we work with suppliers, which are mostly SMEs, we see, let's say, the gap and the technological gap, which are widening now that artificial intelligence is coming up massively into the industry. The gap is widening between large company and small and medium enterprise. So, and when you look at other geographies, yes, massive funding will be necessary to close the gap. And yeah, absolutely. That's my point.
Okay, Aurora?
Yes, thank you. Well, I agree that investment is definitely one missing point, but not only general investment, but investment in skills. What we are seeing, it's already skills gap, huge skills gap among the workers that needs to adapt to new technologies and great practices already in the workplace. So definitely continuous investment in life learning and vocational training, upskilling and reskilling program, but as well as business model. I think that now the business model that many companies often are focusing on is a short-term profit rather than longer-term resilience and sustainability, as well as workers' well-being and welfare. So we are thinking about changing this narrative of business models, such as for example, circular economy, but also this beyond growth narrative, as was already mentioned today, and this Donald economy that could be an example that takes into consideration the planet boundaries, as we know that we live in finite resources.
Okay, thank you also. Not all of you are on the wavelengths. Some are saying we have to invest massively in industry, in massive modernization. We have to maintain industry. This requires money, while Aurora is more pointing to the fact that the industry is still looking at short-term profits and this still not have this long-term perspective. And then where you all agree, I think it's that SMEs are a special case. They have not the capacity to invest in their modernization, and special attention should be given to them, especially in the light of the upcoming penetration of AI in companies. This will increase the gap between SMEs and bigger companies. So now we go to the specific questions we have for each of you. I take the first one. It's for Siga. So about Flanders Make, what kind of practical guidance, what kind of tools, what kind of solutions can you propose to your members? So for Flanders Made, we have the question, what are the tools that you can use, the guidance of the programs that you can implement and propose to your members to implement the principles of Industry 5.0. And then I heard also that you are a member of a European initiative. I didn't know about that, although I've been drafting this opinion. I missed this Prospects 5.0. It's with a specific purpose to implement this. So what's your role therein and what's this project?
Thank you. Before answering the question, I would just like to have two remarks. So I think we are on the same wavelength with the other speakers. It's just if there is investment, you also have to have actors that are able to absorb it and use it correctly. So that's one remark. And the second, I agree, if you have investment, but you don't have the workforce that is educated for this, you've done nothing. So just two remarks, but now I would like to focus on what we do at Flanders Make and maybe illustrate this through a specific project that you've mentioned, which is Prospects 5.0. So I think we've heard a lot about how to deploy and increase the uptake of Industry 5.0, but before doing this, you need to know what the state of play is, what we are dealing with right now. Because if you want to improve or increase something, you basically need to know from what's the starting point. So that's also the goal of the project that we're carrying out with the consortium. That's a Horizon Europe project that we are carrying out with a consortium of 30 partners from different European member states. And basically we have, in a nutshell, we have 14 use cases from different industrial sectors. And then we have what we call facilitators. These are research and technology organizations or universities which are, let's say, supporting these 14 use cases. When I say a use case, these are industrial actors ranging from startups, SMEs, mid-caps to big groups in different sectors, aviation, automotive, manufacturing, knowledge generation. And basically, what we are doing, the main objective is to set up an assessment framework that will allow to basically evaluate the level of these different actors, so a common framework with commonly agreed KPIs, so key performance indicators that will allow us to be applied and see, if the actors are ready or not to deploy Industry 5.0. And I can already tell you that robots will not replace people in the nearby future, so you can be relieved. So basically, we are working on a set of KPIs that are validated in collaboration with these actors, telling us, before we also mentioned there is I think a big workload on the company side. Again, I think bigger companies can deal with this because they have certain departments. SMEs, cannot work on, let's say, measuring a large set of KPIs. That's already clear from the work that we've done right now. So basically, we held a number of 14 workshops with companies presenting a set of KPIs from the three pillars that I've mentioned: sustainability, resilience, and then human centricity. And then once this framework will be validated, we will then measure and collect the data to see where these companies stand. I'm not saying that 14 companies is a representative set or number, but we have a certain budget that we are limited with. But I think it will give us a good guidance where the industry stands on the Industry 5.0 concept. And then once this will be done, there will be reports for policymakers. There will be reports for intermediaries like RTOs and universities, and also, let's say, transferability guidelines for companies, those that are in different, let's say, maturity stages that want to go from or evolve from Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0, and especially taking into consideration the challenges that we have, and that's the shrinking workforce, training and reskilling, and basically, the word is maybe a little bit strong, but war for skilled workforce, because also here we are competing with the United States, China, and other actors. So I think I will stop here and will give the words to my colleagues, and then be happy to discuss further.
Perhaps can you give an example of such a use case? Concrete example?
Yes, so I can give a very concrete example. There is a Belgium startup, 5 employees working on the second life of batteries. So basically they transform batteries that are used in cars, electrical vehicles, and they use them to storage electricity. But talking to them, obviously they are working on a topic that is very much of pertinence, but they are 5, so they are not measuring a lot of KPIs that would come handy, because they basically they all do everything. So they have to focus on generating revenues for the companies to survive, actually. And then, although they plan to do it in the future, it's not the case now.
Then we come back to Mondragon. So is a cooperative successful, embracing values like sustainability, societal concerns, resilience? So for you, it's not really new, but your business model, how can this resist to a world that is not always embracing all these values? So how can you resist in a capitalistic world that is not thinking in the same way as you? Especially with competitors from outside European Union.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, sí, la Corporación Mondragón es conocida por ser la cooperativa industrial más grande del mundo, pero yo diría que tiene un par de factores importantes que son distintos. Uno es la internacionalización, que no siempre se asocia a las cooperativas, al mundo cooperativo, y por tanto la competición global en todos los sectores. Y un segundo factor, que es que demuestra que todo tipo de negocio puede ser acometido desde un modo cooperativo en el que los trabajadores son los dueños de la empresa y, por tanto, de las decisiones. En este mundo capitalista, como decía Guido, que se ha puesto de moda, que las empresas digan que tienen a las personas en el centro, nosotros solemos decir que no tenemos un centro tan grande porque no nos caben todos los que somos. Cada persona está en su puesto de trabajo y se siente segura porque sabe que puede tomar sus propias decisiones. Y este es un tema muy importante, porque a veces se asocia la idea del modelo a un tipo de negocio, y no es así. Yo he de decir que tenía un plan para esta intervención, pero que ha habido otras intervenciones tan interesantes que me han hecho cambiarlo. Entonces, yo quería hacer una reflexión sobre los cambios. Aquí se ha hablado del cambio. El cambio ha existido siempre y no estamos asistiendo a muchos cambios, si uno lo piensa bien. Lo que realmente es distinto es la velocidad del cambio. Los cambios se suceden a una velocidad tal que para cuando nos damos cuenta de lo que está pasando ya han sucedido 7 cambios más. El trending topic ahora son las emisiones, pero comenzamos a hacerlas en la revolución industrial, cuando quemábamos carbón. Por tanto, es muy importante pensar bien lo que hay que hacer. Y esto no quiere decir que se sepa exactamente cuál es el plan. Los ingenieros solemos decir que tenemos un análisis de si es, no es, ¿no? Efectivamente, yo creo que Europa tiene que pensar lo que tiene que hacer, y es complicado, pero también lo que no tiene que hacer. Y les voy a poner un ejemplo, porque aquí se ha hablado de movilidad, de trabajadores y de bienestar. Nosotros hemos generado bienestar en nuestra historia generando empleo de calidad. Si queremos seguir haciendo eso, no podemos renunciar a la industria, no podemos renunciar a determinados tipos de industria. Y no hacer nada es hacer mucho. Si, por ejemplo, los americanos ponen una tasa, unos impuestos a los paneles solares chinos y Europa no hace nada, lo que sucede es que con esa sobrecapacidad los chinos invaden el mercado europeo y entonces las empresas europeas, que las hay, lo que hacen es ir a Estados Unidos porque les dan facilidades. Eso es un ejemplo de lo que no debemos dejar que pase y es un ejemplo de cómo no reindustrializar, sino cómo mantener la poca industria que tenemos. Luego se habla también de la resiliencia y la autonomía estratégica. Aquí se ha hablado también de la pandemia. Yo recuerdo que la presidenta von der Leyen nos llamó en plena pandemia porque no había quien fabricara respiradores, ni había quien fabricara algo tan sencillo como una mascarilla. No siendo nuestros negocios, nosotros hicimos más de 20 líneas de montaje para hacer millones de mascarillas y fabricamos electrónica para los respiradores. A mí me hubiera encantado que la señora von der Leyen nos hubiera seguido llamando para otros negocios, pero no fue así. Entonces, bueno, todas aquellas buenas intenciones y todos aquellos temas de reindustrializar Europa, pues luego no tienen continuidad. Voy a poner otro ejemplo que creo que también es importante y no hablo de subsidios a la industria. Hablo de cosas bueno, en las que debiéramos de priorizar la industria europea. Europa se gasta, bueno, yo creo que es una estrategia, un montón de dinero en los países aledaños y tiene una lógica. Aquí se ha hablado de que el 70% de las materias primas vienen de fuera. Bueno, los chinos tienen su ruta de la seda, nosotros algo tenemos que hacer cuando vamos a negociar esos países. Pero si vamos a invertir, digamos que en el norte de África para evitar la migración y generar puestos de trabajo, sería muy recomendable que esas inversiones fueran hechas por Europa, o sea, por empresas europeas, y no emplear dinero europeo para al final beneficiar, pues, por ejemplo, a la industria china. Y hablo de China porque hablamos de competitividad, y si se habla de competitividad tenemos que hablar de Estados Unidos y tenemos que hablar de China. Es inevitable. Esto, bueno, básicamente lo que nosotros hacemos es competir. Somos cooperativa, nosotros llevamos las personas puestas, pero somos empresas. Y como empresas europeas que somos, reivindicamos una manera de hacer, aquí se ha hablado antes, el señor Barceló lo apuntaba, una simplificación. Cuando competimos a nivel global. Y es cierto que muchas veces, ya no digo una gran empresa, sino el ejemplo que él ponía de una pequeña empresa, es prácticamente imposible. Pero hay países que lo hacen incluso dentro de Europa. Dinamarca es un buen ejemplo, ¿no?, de esa simplificación. Entonces, yo diría, ¿no?, hagamos lo simple para hacerlo mejor. Y ya por último, mi colega ha hablado de la formación. Nosotros lideramos un proyecto universitario, EU for Dual. Yo creo que es absolutamente clave. Ahí hay 9 países involucrados con 9 universidades de referencia. Hemos tenido una educación muy elitista en la historia, ¿no?, y una educación que en el modelo de negocio solo buscaba maximizar el beneficio. Yo creo que debemos de ir a un modelo mucho más cercano a la empresa. Los modelos duales no son solo los de las escuelas profesionales, deben ser también los de las universidades tecnológicas, porque si no, la distancia entre la empresa y la universidad va a ser demasiado grande como para poder competir a la velocidad necesaria. Gracias.
Thank you very much. Of course, Mondragon is a company that's very deeply embedded in the local society, and that other companies don't have that advantage. And that's one of your strengths, I think.
Yeah, well,
and you have a long tradition.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Then we move to Aurora, the last one. So it's Jean-Pascal. Oh, yeah, okay, Jean-Pascal, yes. It's, yeah, Schneider, how do you try to implement the principles of 5.0? So you are automating processes, making people redundant.
How to resume 25 years of transformation in 4 minutes? That's a challenge.
So you have to how to restore the balance between automation and making the best of human capabilities.
Absolutely.
Not cancelling humans, but
it's very
integrating them in your automation process.
Exactly. Look, it's very simple. Industry, and I'm sure my colleagues they are on the same page. Industry is everything is around continuous improvement. Okay. Once you have the continuous improvement mechanism within your enterprise, whether it's for sustainability, productivity, for whatever target, you have mechanisms so that step by step you make increment wins. Industry is not something you wipe out in 3 months and you start something new. So what's very important is to put the mechanism to have a continuous improvement. So Schneider Electric, we started this continuous improvement process by starting by the very basic. And so we are talking digital sustainability, the very basic inside the industry is continuous improvement. So you have systems like lean management. So it might be for somehow a little bit outdated, but I can tell you this is lean management is still a very human-centric, by the definition, how it was thought 40 years ago. It was very human-centric approach to making better processes. And what I can tell you, and what we started 10 years ago when digitalization was not there, we started by that, is by implementing lean management, continuous improvement practice, a culture of continuous improvement within our operation. And then came the digital. And then it was easy, because once you have the basis of continuous improvement, you take the digital and you apply digital to practices to do things in a quicker way. You accelerate your continuous. Digital is not game-changing. It's something that helps you to accelerate your continuous improvement practice. So we started our journey of our smart manufacturing journey in 2016, okay? Only less than 10 years ago, so it's very recent. We have 0 use case more than 10 years ago on digital practice. And after 4 years, so 2016, 2020, we implemented over 100 digital use case, which has been scaled over our 200 factories and industrial footprint. And it was based, one of the first tools that we implement is really to digitize this continuous improvement practice to have the data. What you need to know, I don't know if you people, you realize that is less than 30% of the workforce on the shop floor have access to data on their job. So, I mean, we can think about big scheme, but the reality is today, workforce, the workers, they don't have access to most of the data, don't have access to the data. Most of the workers don't have access to the data, and we started by that. We started to provide valuable data so that each employee, which is done, that know by heart the process, the best valuable asset within the industry. There is no other industrial will tell you something else. The best asset are the people. This is clear. They know the process. They know how to make it better. Give them the tools, and the magic happen. And actually, if we look at today, after 2020 to 2024, we implemented an additional 300 digital use case. So it's exponential. Why it's going so fast is because half of those use cases has been generated by the workforce on the shop floor, not the managed board, not McKinsey Consulting, not Accenture. It has been bottom-up idea. They understand the tools, they understand the digital, and they say, oh, okay, I understand how it works, so I can create this use case. They validate, and we empower them. We value them to create use case and to bring the innovation. And when it has been validated, we have the system where after we can scale it across our 200 operational sites. This is how we are achieving energy saving, despite, and you can see our growth over the past year, we are achieving minus 3% energy saving every year since the past 15 years. We are improving our productivity 7% year after year. And we are aiming, so this was up to 2020. We are designing, so it was really the digital game changing. And then we started to implement a better coordinated sustainability, maybe a little bit with a flavor of 5.0, because it's a program that we call STRIVE, which stands for Sustainability, Trusted, Resilient, Intelligent, Velocity, and Efficiency, STRIVE. So it's a program that will finish next year with, at the core, the sustainability, where not only the frontline workers have some target in terms of productivity, but they have as well the capability to make improvement when it comes to in-plant circularity, and basically brings the innovation down to the shop floor to have a better process. And why do we do that? When it comes to one important factor, when it comes to industry, is a medical incident. And basically, along this journey, as a consequences, we decrease 90% medical incident of the workers. So, yeah, you see, it's a journey. I mean, for us, the reality for an industrial, I mean, there is no opposition between digital, sustainability, and people. If you want to be successful, you have to put the people at your heart of your transformation. And I can tell you, today we are building a practice to help other companies to help them to transform, especially focus on, for example, on our supplier. We help them because it's part of our competitivity overall. It's part of our supply chain. Now we are quite advanced within our own supply chain. We try to go outside and embark a larger ecosystem into the journey, starting with the supplier. What I can tell you on that is, yes, it's a very rewarding journey, first of all. And it helps, let's say, in terms of talent management, in terms of people satisfaction working in our factories, in terms of innovation as well. Some of them have designed like new products that today we are selling even to some of our other industrials. So yeah, this is our experience. So and once again, we are very proud of what we have been doing until now. But this is just the start. Once again, what we are doing, it's a continuous journey, and we have a plan to continue our journey for the next 10 years. It's this is our plan, and this is our story.
Yeah, I didn't make the link between continuous improvement and Industry 5.0, but that's a Japanese technology, yeah. Japanese organizational methodology, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And I always also understand the link between digital and sustainable development, because it helps, digital technologies help for resource efficiency, energy efficiency, life cycle management of products, and also to increase resilience, because you can have adaptable production, modular production. So, and perhaps it's something we have to think more over, the link between, we're always talking about the twin transition, but both are very closely linked.
It's the same. We know, I think, one people I think we should be hero really is a plant manager. I think we need, when you have people managing plant, like making process work with all the people around, this is magic, what's happening there when you have to visit that. And so they should be more recognized and should be empowered. We should give them the key. They know what to do. They know their processes. They know their employee. They know the ecosystem, even local, how to cooperate with universities. They have the key. Plant managers, they have the key to the next industrial revolution.
So this was a positive story. Perhaps it will now become a bit more negative. So Aurora, we as trade unions, we are defending quality jobs, and now is Industry 5.0, is this a guarantee for quality jobs? What are there still risks in Industry 5.0? What should be done to ensure that Industry 5.0 delivers quality jobs?
Yeah, so we see the positive side of Industry 5.0, and it could be a robust model. For example, already the fact that you put at the core the workers with human centricity, and the fact that their proposed solutions are human-centric and human and machine collaboration, it is a positive approach. But also there are some action that should be taken concretely. For example, workers' involvement, that was just said before, it's a key to have workers' involvement when there is a new digital technology application in the workplace, timely inform workers and the worker representative in order also to make the workers have the timely time to take their decision. As well as for us, the key solution is social dialogue and collective bargaining. We can see that those are key topics in order also to try to thrive in a positive negative application of those technologies. As we are now in Industry 5.0 with all those new technologies, they will be implemented in the workplace. The workers will be the one working with those technologies, so it's very important that they have the social partners in particular at all level, European, national, local, they have the room for maneuver to have a social dialogue and an active collective bargaining. As well as what we are seeing is that in order to have Industry 5.0 successful and a successful implementation, there should be a framework and a space for the social partners, for the workers to have the right tool, also to be upskilled, reskilled, and to work with those new technologies and all these advanced green practices they will need to put in place. And something that could be a risk also for workers about Industry 5.0, but generally now it's the fact that it will bring profit, it will bring new profit from different ways. So it's essentially a fair distribution of those profit that it will raise. And as well as in terms of industrial policy, it's important that Industry 5.0 not only focus on one business, that is the core business of one company, but also of the supply chain. That's why and how we link, for example, the due diligence, because a company not only works as in the main company, but they have different suppliers, and the entire chain, there's workers involved. So it's something that we see as quite important to have a successful implementation of Industry 5.0.
Okay, then we have heard you all. Now it's up to the room. We have still 20 minutes for questions and remarks and your views. And questions for the speakers. And if the speakers want to react to each other, of course, they can do it as well. So, who's asking for the floor? Gerald.
Ja, funktioniert das Mikrofon? Sehr gut. Ich werde auf Deutsch sprechen. Ich finde die Debatte sehr spannend und auch sehr passend hier in diesem Ausschuss. Der EWSA und der CCMI ist sozusagen die Plattform der verschiedenen diversen Interessen der Gesellschaft. Und wir sehen gerade hier eine Diskussion, die sozusagen aus dem klassischen Industrie- und Wirtschaftszweig, den üblichen Akteuren, die dort unterwegs sind, nämlich die Beschäftigten, die Unternehmer, sozusagen eine Weiterentwicklung und diese Fortentwicklung, dieses Innovationsprogramm, dieser kontinuierliche Verbesserungsprozess, der hier zur Wettbewerbsfähigkeit der europäischen Industrie beitragen soll. Sozusagen dieser Prozess wurde angestoßen mit Industrie 4.0 und entwickelt sich jetzt weiter in Industrie 5.0. Gibt es an Panel-Teilnehmer auch Erfahrungswerte oder Feedback seitens der Zivilgesellschaft? Ich denke, Industrie 5.0 ist ja sozusagen auch das Verknüpfen von Industrietätigkeit, Wirtschaftstätigkeit mit gesellschaftspolitischen Zielen. Umwelt, Ökologie, Soziales, haben die Projekte, die Unternehmen auch hier besseres Feedback, nicht nur von den Konsumenten, sondern generell von der Gesellschaft im Umfeld auch erfahren können. Und kann das ein zusätzlicher Wert sein, um Industrie auch wieder akzeptabler zu machen und wegzubekommen von dem schmutzigen Image, das Industrie zum Teil hat. Also kann das auch dazu beitragen.
Very good question. I think all of them can reply.
Yeah, just to start, what we do in Schneider Electric, most of our factories are open for visit. So even you, anyone in the room, is more than welcome to visit some of our factories to know what is manufacturing. We need to make this contact as well. Sometimes industries can feel a little bit distant, but by seeing what it is and the magic what happens when you have the machines, the people working behind, it creates a connection with the society. So let's open our factories and let people see what's the magic inside.
Sí, yo insisto que la industria 5.0 no va a ser una varita mágica con la que de repente los trabajadores estén involucrados. Es un concepto. La máquina de vapor quitó cantidad de esfuerzos a los trabajadores de una época. Yo creo que no hay que tener miedo a la tecnología. Nuestra experiencia demuestra que no lo hemos hecho y hemos apostado por la tecnología. De hecho, bueno, pues tenemos 12 centros de R&D. Lo que varía es el perfil del trabajador. Eso sí varía. Y tenemos que adaptarnos todos a ese perfil. Por eso la educación es tan importante. Por eso la universidad tiene que estar. Nosotros nos imaginamos nuestra universidad dentro de la propia empresa. Porque es entonces cuando se ve la necesidad y se acerca realmente. El 5.0 yo creo que es, es un concepto, es una buena tendencia porque saca un tema que no existía encima de la mesa, pero en sí mismo no resuelve, creo yo, no resuelve nada. La tecnología se puede usar para bien o se puede usar para mal. Lo importante es tener claro que tiene que ser en favor de la empresa, pero también de los trabajadores. Gracias.
Thank you for the question. I would definitely agree with my colleagues on the panel. I think the Industry 5.0 is a good concept and a good tendency, as a colleague on my left said. We do not work for. I'm speaking on behalf of Flanders Make. We do not closely work with civil society, but we do recognize the importance of including, I would say, civil organizations and citizens as such, because the image of manufacturing is indeed, let's say, changing, but we still have some room left, some margin to improve. And I think very good. We visited actually Mondragon Corporation, so that's a very good concept. You have a university, you have a research center, you have industry, so you have triple or quadruple helix there. We've been just last week in the UK. We visited 2 research centers there. They have apprenticeship program together with the companies, so they are training between 100 to 300 people, young people per year. So I think that's definitely a component that has to be integrated in the future. We will not be able to do with this. So, you know, if there is more funding available and asked for, I would definitely say, of course, support the European industry. But again, without the workforce, you know, robots will not solve everything. So just 2 examples and my reaction to this. And in the concept of Flanders Make, we also work, as I said, with 5 Flemish universities. So I think that's a good model, good way forward as well, to integrate all of the actors in the chain, so to say.
Gerald, is also not easy to define who are the stakeholders in a project in Industry 5.0. So it can be the universities, can be schools, training institutes, laboratories, can also be the neighborhood. It depends on what the objective is, what you want to reach, and what the project is. But of course, because Industry 5.0, as it wants to embrace societal objectives, is of course, you are right. You have to. It's logic that you consult civil society because you want to pursue societal objectives beyond profits, and that's indeed something to share with civil society. But then you have to identify the right stakeholders, that you talk to the right people, I suppose. So then, we have still time. Yeah, but we can continue with the.
We can continue with the next panel.
Hmm?
We can continue with the next panel.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So we will now. We have now some very special guests here. Where are they?
So Guido, first of all, I would like to thank all the panelists for your participation. I hope you are still going to stay with us, because CCMI was also making the exercise on including the enlargement countries in our discussions. For CCMI, we have decided that Turkey will be the country we want to follow up, and we really believe that the industry also in this enlargement countries, it's very important, and it will influence also, it's influencing already the industry in Europe as well. That's why we have invited our colleagues from Turkey who have already participated on the work of this opinion we have been developing in CCMI, and I'm very happy they are with us. So now I would like to ask the Secretariat to change the panel. Yes.
But first I want to thank all the panelists here. So for the contributions, it was an interesting and enriching debate, very engaged. Thank you, all of you, for having accepted our invitation and being active in our discussions. Many thanks.
Thank you very much to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can now start with the third panel. Guido, you are moderating this panel as well, so I give the floor to you.
So I'm happy to introduce you to our Turkish guests. It happens not every day that we have our Turkish colleagues in the room here. So, but they are part of something that's called, I have to read it, Enlargement Candidate Members Initiative. So, and this means that people, civil society organizations from the candidate member states can participate in our proceedings, and they are here now. So it's a one-year experiment, but it can be prolonged. Hopefully it will be prolonged. So, and then we can share experiences with people from other countries outside the European Union. So they are from Turkey. It's a big economy, the 11th largest economy in the world. It's an emerging economy. Middle income emerging economy with quite a lot of industrial activities related to textiles, automotive, transport, components. So you have an important industrial sectors. So we welcome in our midst because we are representing European industry. And now what we want to, you have been participating in those meetings to study groups, and you have been participating in the hearing. So we wanted to hear from you, what is your experience? Because we are now talking about the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth industrial revolution, but you have to do this in Turkey all at the same time, so to make progress. So what's your impression about the work that we have been doing here? I start with the first name on the list is Sigdem Nas, that's you. So she's representing the Economic Development Foundation. Kavi Demiral is the trade unionist, Axis, and Aisha, is okay? Aisha Yurekli is representing entrepreneurs, but women entrepreneurs, not the men. So you start.
Thank you very much. So first, I think we have 1 minute about the enlargement candidate member. So of course, I think this is a very important initiative because the Economic and Social Committee is the first EU organization which integrated enlargement candidate members in this way. And also, I think coming from Turkey, it is also more important for us, I think, because less and less Turkey is mentioned as a candidate country because of the problems that we had in the accession process. So it's really refreshing to hear that we are included in this platform as an enlargement candidate member. As an organization, my organization has been working on Turkey-EU relations since 1965. So it's quite a long time, just after the Ankara Agreement was signed. And the customs union has been one of the most important pillars of the relationship. Nearly 41% of our exports go to the European market. So we are actually very much connected. And as an organization, we try to bring the EU agenda to Turkey and try to find connections between Turkish and European agendas, especially since a couple of years. The Green Deal and the digital agenda have been also very important for us, and we try to bring the Turkish public up to date with the developments in the EU. And also, of course, it was more not only just to follow the events, but also to try to adapt to these developments. So Turkey had its own European Green Deal plan in 2021. We are also now preparing our own climate law. So we see a reflection of the European agenda, even though our accession process is not proceeding very successfully. So I think that's quite important. And this concept of Industry 5.0 is also not very much talked about in Turkey. So I think it's very important to bring it to the agenda because as maybe we can proceed further in our debate, it is very much relevant to the Turkish labor market, to Turkish industry and competitiveness. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Next one.
Thank you for this opportunity. I prefer to speak German. Ich begrüße Sie alle ganz herzlich. Und zuerst möchte ich dem Komitee für diese Initiative nochmal danken. Für ein Beitrittskandidatland es ist wirklich wertvoll, in einem so wichtigen Organ der Europäischen Union vertreten zu sein. Ich hoffe, dass auch die Entscheidungsträger der Europäischen Union von ihrer Initiative inspiriert werden und bald Schritte in Richtung Vollmitgliedschaft unternehmen. Ehrlich gesagt haben wir als Arbeitnehmerseite in unserem Land die größten Schritte in der Zeit gemacht, als die Perspektive der EU sehr stark war, also zwischen 2000 und 2010. In dieser Zeit wurde ein umfassendes Arbeitsgesetz verabschiedet und auch das Tarifvertrags- und Gewerkschaftsgesetz wurde damals eingeführt. Außerdem wurde in dieser Phase auch das Arbeitssicherheitsgesetz verabschiedet. Deswegen ist diese Initiative für uns wirklich sehr wichtig. Ich möchte auch meine Begeisterung auf Ihre Arbeit ausdrücken. Ich schätze es sehr, dass Sie in so vielen Bereichen der Gesellschaft wichtige Meinungen entwickeln und damit den Gesetzgeber und Entscheidungsträgern eine Orientierung geben. Ich danke auch dafür, dass Sie uns die Möglichkeit gegeben haben, Ihre Arbeiten zu verfolgen und mitzudanken. Dankeschön.
Ich würde gerne mal Englisch sprechen. I'm pleased to attend today's third and final meeting on the CCMI opinion regarding the Industry 5.0. As part of the Enlargement Candidate Member Initiative, which is a pilot project of the European Economic Social Committee, we, the enlargement candidate members, or the ECMs, had this very valuable opportunity to follow the entire life cycle of an opinion. And throughout the various stages, of this very well-structured drafting process. Personally, my key takeaway was and has been that through genuine consultation, a dialogue and consensus building, a more democratic and effective EU legislation can indeed be crafted to meet the diverse needs of its citizens. And it is crucial that members from different countries, different backgrounds, bring their own unique expertise and perspectives to the table, allowing us to thoroughly examine the topic from all angles. And this fosters, indeed, an atmosphere of co-learning and co-creation, guided by the rapporteur and co-rapporteur, who play a challenging yet pivotal role in synthesizing research and feedback. I'm personally very proud to serve as one of the 16 ECMs from Turkey and to hold this honorary title until the end of the year and hopefully maybe also prolonged. And particularly as one of the 4 women among the Turkish ECMs. I'm personally grateful for this opportunity to observe, engage, and participate firsthand in this process of opinion making and gaining valuable hands-on EU experience. Personally, also as a former trainee of the Committee of the Regions and now as an ECM, I'm truly convinced that the accession process is the ideal time for any candidate country, including mine, to learn, practice, and master the art of negotiation and compromise. And most importantly, thank you all for making us feel very welcomed here and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very positive feedback. And then we have a follow-up question, and then we go back to Turkey itself. So you have heard now, been talking about, and you have heard our position about Industry 5.0 and resilient sustainable development and human centrism. Do you see an opportunity? You said there's not so much talk about Industry 5.0 in Turkey. Do you see an opportunity to bring this into the companies or with business organizations, with trade unions, to have this debate inside Turkey, social partners or civil society, or is the government doing some things about that? So how is this on the political or the social agenda of the Turkish social partners government? Yeah, we can start here again.
Thank you. As you have said in the beginning, in Turkey, I think Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0 have been sort of combined, while Turkey was mostly focused on its own digital transition and achieving a sense of or a level of digital maturity. Now we have this new concept of Industry 5.0. However, I think that being a very human-centric approach, it's very, very suitable for the Turkish context, because in Turkey also we have a quite large population. Although our median age is also starting to age, and still we have a young population and we have employment needs. Before coming here, I looked at some figures regarding Turkey's digital competitiveness. We may talk about certain challenges. In the Digital Competitiveness Index 2023, Turkey was in the 53rd level among 64 countries. So this was not a very good figure, so we have to maybe work harder for our digital competitiveness. And also there is another index which is created by a Turkish organization called the Digital Transition Index. And there they have also evaluated some of Turkey's strengths and weaknesses in terms of the digital transition. And one factor which made digital transition quite difficult for the Turkish entrepreneurs and especially for the small and medium-sized enterprises was Turkey's macroeconomic problems, the rate of inflation, and also drop in living standards. So this also creates a lot of problems for the labor, for the working population of Turkey, which have seen a quite significant drop in their living standards. So for companies, making plans for their digital transition may be more difficult under these very strenuous economic conditions. So that was seen as one important factor which created a challenge for the digital transition. However, in terms of digital connectivity, we have also quite important background, so we are not really doing that bad in terms of digital connectivity. And in terms of e-government services, Turkey also has a quite good track record, so we can access government services via our e-state system. However, in that also, of course, we have some problems related to security, cyber security, so we have to make improvements in that regard. Comparing especially the issue about automation replacing human jobs, I think this created a lot of controversy in Turkey, especially with Industry 4.0. So with Industry 5.0, robots or artificial intelligence not actually replacing human jobs, but humans and machines acting together, the interconnectivity, which is inherent in the concept of Industry 5.0 is, I think, quite suitable for the Turkish context. However, we have to make sure that the labor force is fitted with the skills needed for digitalization. So they should be able to maybe have access to data, they should be able to analyze this data and know how to work with these new technological mechanisms. So in that regard, again, we have maybe the same problem that the European Union countries have. This relationship between our labor supply, the level of skills, especially digital skills, and the level of STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. These need improvement, and also the match between the skills which are needed by the labor market and the education system. So I think we have to make an effort to adapt our education system to the needs of the labor market, especially under conditions of Industry 5.0. Another factor which is of some concern for the Turkish case is the low rate of employment. So we may also talk about some maybe unregistered employment. When you look at official figures, the EU average in terms of the rate of employment is 75.3. In Turkey, this is 49.6. So we have a quite important gap in terms of employment. So we need further employment rather than getting rid of employment through automation. So that's very important. So our economy needs to produce jobs, especially for our young population. Another, again, challenge is Turkey's place in the PISA index, which is again related to STEM education. And there we see that there is also room for improvement in terms of these skills that are needed for Industry 5.0. Another factor which is again a problem also in several countries in the EU, but also in Turkey, is the ratio of young people who are neither at work nor at school. So those who are not getting an education or who are not being also in employment. So we see also a quite high figure in the Turkish case. The rate of unemployment, youth unemployment, is about 15.7, and the rate of young people who are neither in education nor at work is 21.4%. So also I think we have to do something about it to find new employment, new digital avenues of education training for our young people. Another sort of concern is about our digital security qualifications. Especially the sort of literacy regarding digital skills or access to digital data is quite low. So we have to again increase our digital capabilities in terms of our labor force. And finally, when we look at this issue of Turkey's adaptability, I think we see that we have achieved a level of competitiveness in our industry. We have become an important export-oriented economy, but we need to adapt to these new challenges, both in terms of sustainability, in terms of green transition, green growth, and also in terms of digitalization to keep up our competitiveness. So Turkey is also, maybe similar to the EU, is at a critical juncture in order to not to lose its competitive edge.
Hier als Vertreter der Arbeitnehmerorganisation nur einige arbeitsrechtliche Herausforderungen eingehen. Ich glaube, dass unsere Unternehmen eine deutliche höhere Leistung erbringen müssen als ihre europäischen Wettbewerber, um sich auf Industrie 5.0 vorzubereiten. Denn wenn wir uns die Probleme im türkischen Arbeitsrecht nachschauen, stellen wir fest, dass selbst die grundlegendsten Probleme, die europäische Unternehmen vor Jahren gelöst haben, bei uns noch ungelöst sind. Im ersten haben wir ein Problem mit der Verteilung. Und es scheint, dass unsere Unternehmen noch nicht bereit sind, von einer rein gewinnorientierten Arbeitsweise abzukehren. Was ich mit Verteilungsproblem meine, ist Folgendes. Ungefähr 50% der Arbeitnehmer arbeiten zum Mindestlohn und die durchschnittliche Arbeitszeit liegt bei etwa 50 Stunden pro Woche. Die Zahlen stellen meiner Meinung nach ein großes Hindernis für Industrie 5.0 dar. Ein weiteres großes Problem ist das fehlende Interessenvertretung der Arbeitnehmer. Wir haben keine Mitbestimmungsrechte, keine Betriebsräte oder irgendwelche Arbeitnehmervertretung, weder betrieblichen noch unternehmerischen Ebene. Die Unternehmen haben Schwierigkeiten, ihre Mitarbeiter in die Entscheidungsprozesse einzubeziehen. Gewerkschaftliche Vertretung ist auch nur geringstens vorhanden. Nur 16% der Beschäftigten sind gewerkschaftlich organisiert und nur 9% davon profitieren von einem Tarifvertrag. Ich glaube, mit einer Unternehmenskultur, in der alle Prozessentscheidungen allein getroffen werden, scheint es schwierig, sich auf Industrie 5.0 vorzubereiten. Aufgrund dieser geistigen Haltung der Unternehmen bei der Teilung von Entscheidungsbefugnissen und Gewinnen sehen wir auch, dass ausreichende Arbeitssicherheit nicht gewährleistet. Um hier eine Zahl zu nennen, in der Türkei gibt es jährlich etwa 2000 tödliche Arbeitsunfälle, während es in Deutschland nur rund 400 sind. Dabei darf man nicht vergessen, dass die Arbeitnehmerzahlen in der Türkei etwa 16 Millionen sind, während diese Zahl in Deutschland bei über 40 Millionen liegt. Ein weiteres großes Hindernis für die Vorbereitung auf Industrie 5.0 in unserem Land ist das Problem der Abwanderung von jungen und qualifizierten Fachkräften. Da viele Arbeitgeber in der Türkei sowohl bei der Entlohnung als auch bei den Mitbestimmungsrechten der Arbeitnehmer sehr zurückhaltend und sparsam sind, verliert die Türkei junge und qualifizierte Arbeitskräfte, die für Industrie 5.0 sehr wichtig sind. Dadurch verliert die Türkei gegenüber seinen Konkurrenten einen entscheidenden Vorteil, und zwar junge Fachkräfte. Zum Schluss muss ich leider feststellen, dass der Türkei erhebliche Herausforderungen bevorstehen, um sie auf Industrie 5.0 vorzubereiten. Zunächst müssen die Arbeitgeber ihre rein gewinnorientierte Denkweise aufgeben und ein nachhaltiges, menschenzentriertes Produktionsmodell akzeptieren. Sie können nur mit fairen und menschlichen Arbeitsbedingungen sich auf Industrie 5.0 einstellen. Ich denke, dies wäre für Unternehmen nicht nur ein bloßes Gebot, sondern auch eine Notwendigkeit, um immer härter werdende Wettbewerbsbedingungen zu bewältigen. So, somit wollte ich einen kurzen Einblick aus Sicht der Arbeitnehmerseite geben. Ich danke Ihnen für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Dankeschön.
Many thanks, David. Now, the last but not least, Aisa.
Thank you. I will give a little different perspective coming from the civil society and, as you rightfully mentioned, from a women's entrepreneur association. I will present also my input with a gender nuance, if I may. As a representative of the Turkish Women Entrepreneurs Association, KAGİDER, here in Brussels, I believe that the implementation of Industry 5.0 in Turkey presents both significant opportunities but also notable challenges for the country. KAGİDER, my association, has supported women's entrepreneurship in Turkey for 22 years as a civil society organization and with sustainability at the core of all its efforts. For us, sustainability is not just a goal, but a guiding principle present in every project and step we take. Today, we represent 530 members in around 46 sectors and representing roughly 10% of the Turkish economy and creating employment for 250,000 people in the country. The global call for inclusivity and resilience is actually reflected in the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, reinforces the need for a human-centric, sustainable approach, especially as we move now towards Industry 5.0. With only 6 years left to meet the targets set by the 17 SDGs, we have a lot to do in Europe and beyond. And against the backdrop of the current Summit of the Future in New York at the moment, for a digital future for all, we need to create access and opportunities for all. We should not think and work in silos. And coming to your question, it is important to note that Industry 5.0, with its focus on human centricity, sustainability and resilience, aligns very well with Turkey's overall ambitions to modernize its industrial sector. There is certainly a great potential in integrating advanced technologies such as AI or Internet of Things into traditional industries, which can enhance productivity and innovation. However, when it comes to Industry 5.0 in Turkey, several key challenges also emerge. First one would be skill development. There is a pressing need to equip the workforce with the necessary skills to thrive in an Industry 5.0 environment. This includes certainly not only technical skills, but also soft skills that are essential for driving innovation, such as fostering creativity, collaboration, or leadership. We must invest in education and training programs to prepare both men and women for these new roles, especially as women's participation in Turkey's workforce remains extremely low, at just 35.8%, ranking last among the OECD countries, and with the majority of these women occupied in the services sector. We, as KAGİDER, are offering trainings and mentoring programs as part of our projects to increase the digital literacy and enhance the digital skill set, especially of young women entrepreneurs. It is sad to say, but every other woman has not even a bank account in Turkey. So half of the women do not have bank accounts. So financial inclusion, as Kagidar emphasizes, is critical to empowering women and remains key for a sustainable future. A second impediment or challenge is access to technology. Many small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, like in Europe, but especially those led by women in Turkey, face extreme difficulties in accessing latest technologies necessary also for Industry 5.0. Bridging this gap is crucial for ensuring that all sectors can benefit from the advantages of Industry 5.0, and that Turkish industry remains competitive and resilient. We must advocate for policies that support technology transfer and financial assistance for SMEs. Women-led SMEs are particularly vulnerable and they are in need of extra support. Bridging this gap is crucial also for Kagidar, and which has been advocating for policies that ease access to finance and resources, particularly for women entrepreneurs. A third challenge would be the cultural shifts. Embracing a human-centric approach in Industry 5.0 also demands a cultural change within organizations, placing a greater emphasis on diversity, equity, inclusion, as well as the well-being of the employees. This is particularly important, again, in encouraging women's participation in the workforce and leadership roles. We have been long promoting the importance of women's participation in leadership and decision-making processes in companies. And increasing the representation of women in Turkey's entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is currently at around 17.5%, including the self-employed, is essential for fostering innovation and achieving sustainable growth. And as the last impediment or challenge for Turkish case is certainly also the regulatory framework which we lack. And a supportive and robust regulatory environment is vital for the successful implementation of Industry 5.0 also in Turkey. And we must work towards regulations that promote innovation while ensuring sustainability and ethical practices. And for us, Kagidar is the most important that in the meantime, that we will also ensure that women are not left behind. And maybe to conclude, while the challenges of implementing Industry 5.0, which I have tried to list in Turkey, are also significant, they also present a unique opportunity to foster a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable industry by focusing on skill development, access to technology, cultural shifts, and regulatory frameworks, especially those that promote women's digital inclusion. We can build a future where women and men contribute equally to Turkey's success and to the prosperity of our continent at large. Let us work together to ensure that no one is left behind in this transformative journey.
Great, many thanks for your valuable contributions, all of three. So we learned a lot about the perspective in Turkey. So we heard that that there are quite a lot of impediments for implementing the principles of Industry 5.0. There is lack of digital skills, there is lack of attention by the employers for human centrism, there is much low-paid, low-skilled work, there's no co-determination. This is all coming from the trade union side, but then I heard from the employer side that you are working on all this, that you are campaigning to introduce principles of human centrism to modernize industry, that you are promoting skills and also the soft skills that are necessary, that you are motivating women to be entrepreneur, that you also work on a cultural shift with women. And so this is indeed modernizing industry and dealing with the challenges. And I also heard from you that you have already developed your own version of the Green Deal and of the European Climate Law. So there is clear progress, but the challenges are of course great, and there's still a long way to go. So then we can conclude this panel, and I hope that we can meet you again in the next opinion that we are drafting, and that we can hear your voice again and exchange our experiences, because it's very interesting to hear the voice of people outside of the European Union. We are often working on our own island without knowing what is happening in the rest of the world. Thank you very much
for inviting us.
So then, yes, they deserve it. So then we are coming to the end of this conference. So yeah, much has been said, and so I took note of everything, but I'm not going to read everything I wrote down. So to be brief, so the ambition of this opinion on Industry 5.0 was to support, to push industry to embrace a much broader perspective and enable industry to be better in integrating societal concerns. That's the purpose, and sustainability concerns. And it was said, this is about post GDP growth, but it is about growth anyhow. But it will be kind of different growth. So it's still not saying that we are aiming for degrowth. It's still about growth, but a different way. And I think because the world has changed, that Industry 5.0 is quite essential for industry, and that industry has to embrace all these values of sustainability, resilience, and so on, and human centricity, because the outside world is different, and industry has to embrace longer-term goals as a kind of license to operate, to be fit for the future. So besides short-term, looking to the short-term profits, to survive in the long term, it's important to have these long-term goals. And what is also important that we have, I explained it, there are so many digital technologies entering the shop floor in the factories, and the concept of human centrism, I think it has to be, we have to redefine human centrism in a completely different work organization, completely different environment, where different technologies where people have to work with. And indeed, we have to try to be aware that technology cannot solve all our problems. It creates rigidities at the same time as well. Technologies are not creative, they cannot improvise. So humans, they can. So we must make better use of the human capabilities in collaboration with the technologies, but the worker in charge of the technology and the machine, and not the machine imposing its will on the worker. But you have to find models for that, and trying to find the right business organization to do that. And then it's, I think, we have heard the Commission, all these papers the Commission have been written. It's a highly academic concept, Industry 5.0. It has to be made operational. So we heard from the Commission that they will deliver a first set of deliverables. There will be a roadmap. There will be a learning tool. There will be indicators. So we will see that there will be a conference on the 16th of October where they will present this. So I'm looking forward how they want to make this concrete, this abstract concept of Industry 5.0 from the theory to the practice. But it's built in. When I listen to the Commission, it's built on what we have experienced earlier in a decade ago, when we were talking about workplace innovation, workplace development, shop floor innovation, learning companies. So it's building on that, but it's of course in a different environment, in a highly digitalized. And what we didn't address in the opinion is about the possible impact of artificial intelligence, because we didn't dare to touch upon that, because it's a completely different debate. And so, but this will have also impact on non-routine jobs, like people that are translating and so on, interpreters. So that is another challenge. But at the end of the day, what should be the outcome of Industry 5.0 is that we have a triple win situation, but that's dreaming, but that's what we have to strive for, that it will be good for the employee because he will have a greater job satisfaction, he will be empowered and engaged. He will be also, it was Norbert who said that it's important that workers are also involved in not only in contributing to the profits of a company, but also contributing to the societal values of a company, the sustainable development values, what they want. In these kind of processes, workers should also be involved. So it will also lead to, normally it should lead to less stress when they are more engaged in the company. Workers should preserve their autonomy and so on, participate in decision making, but then it is required that we establish that we have social dialogue and collective agreements where workers and management can discuss on an equal basis on implementation of Industrial 5.0 principles. It should be good for the companies as well, because it will increase their productivity. They will have less burnouts in the company. They will have a long-term perspective. So they will also be more adaptable because of all these technologies. So companies should take advantage out of these principles of Industry 5.0. And at the end of the day, the full society should take advantage also out of this, because companies will be performing better. The health of workers will be better, less burnouts. There will be more interest because companies will be working on it. So as a whole society, there will be more interest for the 3 Ps: people, profit, and prosperity. People, planet, and prosperity. So when we will have a more innovative economy. So that is, that's the dream about Industry 5.0. Which should be delivered if properly implemented, but that's still a long way to go. So the next step is 16th of October, when the Commission will present its deliverables on this topic. But this will also, will of course continue. It comes now closer to the shop floor, and we will continue working on this. And it's important for us as CCMI. It's about the manufacturing industry, and it's about the well-being of workers, and it's about long-term survival of companies. So thank you for staying here till the bitter end, and for having listened to all of this. I hope you found it interesting, and thank you for approving the opinion, also on behalf of Giuseppe, and also